David Lammy, a minister and the MP for Tottenham, delivered the keynote speech at the Fabian Society conference on November the 8th. America votes, Europe responds. Mr. Lammy, who has spoken of his professional friendship with President-elect Barack Obama, described the US election outcome days earlier as an incredibly powerful moment, both for him and millions around the globe. The minister later turned his fire on the reaction of Conservative leader David Cameron to the victory of the Democratic presidential candidate.
Now, David Cameron also wants to be the change candidate. He's keen to associate himself very closely with Barack Obama. One of the striking things about Barack Obama is that he often seemed to be the one person who didn't get carried away with the Obama mania that was surrounding him. He often told his campaign rallies and the American people, this isn't about me, it's about you. It's about you. And I'm not sure that this is quite David Cameron's approach. The Conservative leader's message of congratulations told the new President-elect Obama that he was just the first of a new generation of leaders arguing for change. Sky News political editor Adam Bolton said the message was a crashingly self-referential press release. What David Cameron seemed to want to say to Barack Obama was that this moment of history isn't about you and your achievement, it's about me. They should understand that Barack Obama is our progressive friend. And that is not a question of background or of race or of age. It is a question of competing vision and values. It's about the kind of politics we believe in. It's about understanding what change means. In British politics, that vision of change that we need will come from Labour. It's at odds with most of what David Cameron stands for. They are wrong on the global economy and the market. The Conservatives have had no answer on the economy because their core belief is that less government is always better. Yes, they try to look wise after the event, but everybody knows that they were calling for deregulation at every stage. And in this crisis, European governments have had to work together. It's Gordon Brown's global plan that has been adopted in America. Much of what Barack had to say towards the end of his campaign, his 90-day foreclosure, getting in and supporting the banks, and the state taking ownership of the banks, a critical moment in which I think many have said that the public identified the Democrats as being on the right side of that debate. Well, we in the Labour Party led that debate. But he's not just wrong on the global financial downturn. He's wrong too on the broken society. David Cameron tells us that society is broken. That's a vast overstatement. Even Boris Johnson calls it piffle. And for all of the challenges that the United States faces too, Barack Obama hasn't argued that American society is broken. Of course he hasn't. Because his was a politics of hope, not a politics of pessimism. He has re-engaged America, not talked the country down for partisan advantage. The Cameron rhetoric doesn't ring true for two reasons. First, most people know what a damaged society really looks like. I remember it. I was growing up in Tottenham during the 1980s. I saw the unemployment. I saw the race riots. I saw the disconnect between the poor and those in positions of authority. That's a broken society. Second, in contrast, most people recognise that Britain is fairer, more inclusive than it was a decade ago. Far fewer children now live in poverty than they did. More and more children are going to better schools. The NHS has clearly been reformed after those decades of long queues and long waiting. People, of course, still have concerns, particularly about violent crime here in London. Parents still want to spend more time and have aspirations to spend more time with their children, and communities want a more cohesive sense of themselves. All of those things lie ahead of us. But these concerns and these aspirations do not add up to a broken society. They reflect an ambition for an even greater Britain, an even greater Labour Party, an even greater case for the public realm. He's also wrong on inequality and redistribution. So David Cameron now says that he's a progressive who wants to tackle poverty. Yet in the same breath, he tells us that he's got a get-out clause about income redistribution and social programmes run by the state. Listen to that suspicion of the state to affect that poverty. And Barack Obama, too, believes in redistribution. Think about one of the key success stories of this campaign. Remember those last political debates in America. Remember John McCain looking at the American audience and saying to them, he wants to take your money that you worked hard for and give it to other people. And the power at which he looked at the electorate and said, don't believe in that politics of redistribution. And the power with which Barack Obama came back and said, yes, I do believe in the politics of redistribution, fair redistribution, but I believe that there are people at the top who've been given tax breaks under George Bush who should not have been. And I believe that we should redistribute that wealth to those experiencing potential redundancy, to those dealing with the foreclosure of their mortgages. That was a debate, and the Democrats won it. A debate about redistribution. That is not a place that is currently occupied by David Cameron. So the message for David Cameron has to be, it's good if your party wants now to sign up to progressive causes, but you can't be for progressive ends if you won't will the progressive means. David Cameron is not against a reduction of poverty, a cut in carbon emissions, an improvement in global development. It's just that he thinks it's somebody else's job to do it. This week in America, all sorts of people came together from different backgrounds, and they put in play an ideal that is at the core of our party. That ideal was a collective ideal. It was a collective ideal about us, we the people, as much about the individuals that lead us. It was that collective ideal that gave us the NHS. It was that collective ideal that gave us civil rights, that gave us further progress in relation to gender and disability. All of those causes of the centre-left, progressive causes. And it was a progressive ideal that looked into the 21st century and said that there is more to do. I'm afraid that is not a prize that can be claimed in this country by David Cameron. This is our time. Barack was right. This is our century. We have to be in power in this country for more than 22 years of this century. The Democrats have to be in power for more than 36 years of this century. Now, at this critical moment, we learn from what's happened in America, but we come home, and we come home to mount that fight, to say that we are the party of change. And Gordon Brown is the man that will lead us to that change, just as he has led on the financial global downturn over the last few weeks.